Hi, I'm Nick Federoff, and you're going to want to stick around for in the next 30 seconds as we have a live show that is slated just for you coming from the South Coast Botanic Garden. It is Things Green, Keep Calm, and El Nino on. Everything you wanted to know about El Nino and how to protect your home. That's right now. So get your pen and paper out. We're going to have to take a lot of notes with me, Nick Federoff, on KLCS. Welcome to Things Green Live. Keep calm and El Nino on. We're here live at the South Coast Botanic Gardens. You got to come down here. This place is just awesome because everything that you're going to be seeing over here is not only going to be seen on television, but it will be on display here, not 1 month, not for 2 months, but it'll be here for 3 whole months. Now, we've got something really exciting going on because there are 2 devastating things that are going to happen here in California. Number 1 is the California drought. You're all a part of it. And blink your eyes, the experts say that we're going to have something that's called El Nino. And you know what's going to happen? They are going to collide. Boom! What's going to happen? Well, we're going to find out what's going to happen right now. We have a studio guest here, Eric Bold. Did I pronounce that right? Bolt. Look how tall this guy is, right? And you're with NOAA.
I am.
All right, now we're not talking the biblical NOAA here, are we?
We're not.
No, we're talking the national,
Oceanic,
and
atmospheric
administration. Now, you're an actual meteorologist.
That's correct.
This is too cool. I love this. El Nino, is it real?
It's already here.
It is?
It is.
No kidding.
It started back in March. It's just been getting stronger and stronger ever since then.
Okay, I don't feel it.
That's because El Nino is just going to set us up for our winter rains.
Okay, when is it slated to start?
You know, sometimes in November we get a little extra rain, but really the bulk of our rain is going to come late December, January, February.
Okay, late December. So 3 months.
That's our wettest time of the year,
Okay.
typically in Southern California.
Now, when the weather comes, is it going to be just as massive as they say it is? I mean, we're going to have to build arcs and things like that and get in our little dinghies?
Not necessarily. We don't know for sure how much rain is going to come all at once, but what happens typically is we get storm after storm after storm, and then we start to see some problems because we can't handle all that extra rain at one time.
Okay. Now, when the El Nino comes, are we looking at where you have rain that's going to just be going constant, or should it be a little bit here, a little bit there, nighttime, daytime rain? Is there any kind of idea?
Not really. We can't really see that far out in advance on what the storms are going to do once they get here. But if we get enough spacing between storms, we'll be fine. We won't have any problems. But if we get them really close together, and they do come out of the south, so they're going to be warm, they're going to have a lot of tropical moisture with them at times, that could cause some problems. A lot of runoff and wind, coastal erosion, flooding, that kind of thing.
Okay, so all that really fun stuff. Okay, now when it comes to this rain, we are in one of the most historical droughts ever.
That's right.
Will this El Nino make a dent in the drought that we have?
I think it will. Every strong El Nino, which is what we're predicting, has shown above normal precipitation for all of Southern California. So in the south part of the state, we're looking pretty good historically. The northern part of the state, though, doesn't always benefit from heavy rains during El Nino, so that could still give us a drought problem in many parts of the state.
Okay, now you did mention that the El Nino is going to be a warm El Nino. What does that mean to our snowpack? Will there be any?
Past strong El Ninos, we've seen record-breaking snowpack. So places like Mammoth Mountain and the Sierras have had record-breaking snowpack. It could be a higher snow level, though, and a quicker melt as we get into our spring. That's the
Fantastic.
difference.
Fascinating information. If anybody wanted more, Is there a website that people can come? Well, you can come to thingsgreen, of course.com, but you know, to go to the NOAA website.
That's right. We have all kinds of information, especially about the forecast, so you can be aware of when these big storms are coming. Weather.gov/Los Angeles.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for being on with us today. I really appreciate that. Can you believe this? This is a real meteorologist right here. I don't know what that means, but it's pretty cool. Thank you. Look how tall he is. Look at, you know, it's like, do they usually like to hold up things when the weather comes and lightning and all that?
Well, it isn't my name. You know.
Yeah, you had a lightning bolt. That's right. Eric Bolt, thank you very much for being on with us today. You know, and it's very real what he's talking about, because we have to prepare ourselves for the things that we need to protect, and that is our homes. You know, one of the things that we don't really know a whole lot about here in Southern California are gutters. We're not really that privy to them, but I'll tell you something. We tried to get gutter companies out to help us with this. Not one of them did, because every one of them said that people are so busy. I'm so proud of you for doing that, because you're ordering these kind of services so that you can be prepared, and that's exactly what I want you to do. But being prepared also means you have to be able to clean these things out. And clean those gutters out. If you can't get up there themselves, don't be a cheapskate. Hire it out. Let someone else break their neck. Just kidding. We never want that to happen. But we want to make sure that they're nice and clean. There are devices that you could take and you could stick inside or to put on top that will protect from having the debris from coming inside of your gutters. So make certain that that is a part of what it is that you're doing for protecting your homes. Now, this is actually kind of cool, because we have ourselves a gutter system. And as the gutter is taking the water and it is transferring it down here, and by the way, you know the reason why we have the gutters in the first place? Water has a tendency to come down and will go underneath the eaves of your house and start rotting up the eaves of your house. That's why you have a gutter. So as this water is traveling through over here, before it actually hits into the ground, you may want to consider doing a rain barrel. That's what you want to do. Get yourself a rain barrel. These things are so cool nowadays. You know what they're doing with these things? They're making them designer style. And we've had a lot of people here in our live audience here. That's because we got rid of the rigor mortis audience. We have the live audience over here, and they're all asking about what these things do and how much they hold and all that kind of stuff. What's exciting about the rain barrels is that the technology has actually changed. Oh, sure, you could probably go down to your city and you can probably get one for a few bucks, if not for free. But the problem with those is that they're not necessarily using the right materials inside of the rain barrel, because these rain barrels, these in particular, they have a special membrane or plastic that's inside that's doing something that's really cool. It is a food grade plastic, because we all know that rainwater is so essential. You see, the water that we get from the city, when it comes through our drain pipes, did you know that that's treated? They put chemicals inside that stuff. They put fluoride and they have chlorine. Look at, when it rains, we all know how beautiful our plants get afterwards. Well, this is a good reason why you got to get a rain barrel. Now, here's something to think about. If you have 1,000 square foot roof, which really isn't that big, and 1/10 of an inch of rain comes off of it, it's going to fill up one of these barrels. So think about that. So it doesn't take a whole lot to fill these up. Now, here's the story. What happens is that when you get a rain barrel, they're do-it-yourself kits. They're so simple. So this is our downspout that's coming like this. And what's going to happen is that you're going to get a kit. And these kits are going to have all of the piping and tubing that is necessary to get this done. And what's really cool is that you're going to have to get yourself a drill, and it's going to have what's called a keyhole saw. You see this right here? It has like a little drill on the end, and it's got this. Oh, so awesome. So you're going to take and you're going to drill this right through just like that. Watch this. And then you'll be able to, it's just that simple. Makes a nice little round hole over there. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Okay, and then you could take your piping work and you just stick it right on through. Then what happens is that when this thing gets filled, so it doesn't overflow, you'll take and it has a knob right here to turn off the flow, whether it's going to go inside or outside. Really, really awesome. Okay, how much do these hold? 350 liters, which is about 90 gallons of water. So I really encourage you to kind of go in this direction over here to collect rainwater. You know, it's really fascinating. There's a lot of things that can be done in the yard and garden, and of course hillside, especially over here in this area with the South Coast Botanic Gardens is where we're at right now. You have a lot of hillsides. How do you know that a hillside is slipping? Because you certainly don't want that hillside to end up in your kitchen or in your living room or any place else, right? So here is a great indication of knowing and how to tell whether your hillside is slipping. How do trees and plants grow? A little question. They grow up and down. Well, if you have, all of a sudden, you notice that your hillside, this is our mock little hillside over here, it's going down. If your tree happens to be, or plants, are starting to grow at an angle, you got yourself some problems. You need to get yourself a contractor. You got to get engineers. This is nothing to mess around with. You heard what Eric said. He's a meteorologist. He's with NOAA. They know what's happening. That's why they have the word NOAA. Say they know what's going on. So they're going to help you to let you know ahead of time that you have to get a contractor to help you out. Okay? That's so important with that. So you have a hillside that's slipping. We're going to show you in a little bit what those things are that you can do to help out prior to this situation happening. But it's always pretty typical when you have a hillside. Now, you got to remember, you have to use your imagination over here. We have to pretend all this is in the ground. But we have our hillside coming down over here, and you may have a retaining wall. And the retaining wall is nice. You're going to sit, enjoy yourself, and blah, 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 watch the birds and all that kind of stuff. And you don't want this retaining wall to fall down because it's designed to hold your soil back. But you have to aid it somehow. And the way we aid it is with the drainage system. Now check this out. My brutal strength is such I can remove this whole retaining wall just like this. Oh! Yeah. Okay. This right here is a very unique way of moving water. It's an ADS draining system that is just so awesome. Now, what you have here is you have like this flat tubing. This equals more than a 4-inch pipe. You're able to take and it sucks up right against your retaining wall here, and the water comes down off of your hill into this. This right here protects all the goobery stuff from getting into the pipe, and then you take it and then you shush it out right out to the front or to the lowest part of your property. And I'll kind of give you an idea what this looks like. I mean, look at this. Look at all these little things. Can you imagine that this right here, and the surface area is huge for this to come through. So it's going to be going right on through, and it's going to come out in this direction. And I guess this material right here holds the silt and the dirt and all that kind of stuff behind. It comes in these gigantic rolls over here. Check this out. So again, you have to ask your contractor to find this out, where to go. All this information, by the way, is on our website, thingsgreen.com, so you could find out how to do that and where to get this kind of stuff at. Because when you're talking about this professional stuff, it's not very easily for you to buy it yourself. That's why we have to go with a contractor in doing something like that. But if you want to do something easy for yourself, this is actually really important. Preparing your soil is so important. This drought did us so much harm. It's ridiculous. I can't tell you because, especially in this area, I forget what it is. You're only able to use like 6 or 7 units of water. That is ruining your soil to no end. Hopefully, you're able to get some water on your soil areas because it's important to have some saturation within the soil. If you have water just hitting your ground, it's going to bounce off and it'll actually cut into it to where it'll actually ruin what's going on. I implore you to get yourself a rototiller and rototill the area up. These tines right here are designed to mix up in the soil, add compost, do things. prepare your plants. Are they going to get waterlogged? Oh yeah, everything's going to get waterlogged. That's par for the course for what we're doing over here. But does that mean that you can't have a vegetable garden? Doesn't mean that whatsoever. You can have a vegetable garden. And you have to do it and plan it properly. Now, over here, we're not used to having what is called a hoop house. As a matter of fact, you know, greenhouses are great. This is kind of like a makeshift greenhouse. And if you look inside over here, you're going to see these little tubes. This is nothing more than PVC that's placed within this little framework that we created here. You fill this up with soil. And then what you have to do is you have to take these clips right here and you clip everything down really tight because the winds are going to kick up. So you got to be really careful about that. This is going to protect your vegetables as you're growing them. So you can grow these things inside a situation like this. So whether this is in the ground or a raised planter bed. Now, this stuff that's inside, I'm going to talk about in a little bit, is just holding up this raised planter bed that we have here. And this right here is a fabric kind of a planter bed. This is good because it has drainage. As opposed to in your ground is going to saturate, and there'll be a stopping period for that. But if it is saturated, I mean, if you have it up off the ground, like say this one over here, you've got a raised planter bed, it's off the ground, the water is going to penetrate through, and then at the same time, it's going to drain. You're going to get the perfect drainage that you need for the whole thing. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about this drainage. Drainage is the most important thing for El Nino. And the reason being is because drainage is all about moving the water from point A to point B. We want to get the water out of there as quick as possible. Let me tell you, the choices you're going to have are amazing. Now, you may want to go right away and buy yourself some of this black pipe right here. And this is called ABS pipe. ABS pipe is not drainage pipe. Look how thick milled this is. This stuff right here is much more expensive than drainage pipe because if you look at a pipe at the same size, you see the difference right here? Look at that. This is itty bitty, and this is big and thick. We don't want it big and thick. We want it itty bitty. It's cheaper. It's much more inexpensive. The pipe itself is pretty interesting because sometimes it is covered with the plastic membrane, and sometimes it's not. And it's this one right here is just a straight drain pipe. Where this one, check this out. This one has holes in it. Is this awesome or what? It's got holes in it. It has two series of holes. Now, you're probably thinking the way to do this is to take the pipe and you want to put it upwards like this so that the water drainage comes from wherever you have it in your turf area, from this area over here by your retaining wall, up into the top. That's actually not how it's done. It's going to be flipped around the other way, and you're going to be taking and you're going to be bringing water from other areas into here so that it could slowly percolate further down. And there's a lot of other pipes you're going to come across. And here's an example of one, which is a flexible pipe. See how flexible this is? These pipes are rigid. Here, you could be a little bit on the wiggly side when you start putting it into your yard and garden, and see what's going on with that. Put it real wiggly, and it's more forgiving that way. There is pipe. I have a sample of it here someplace, but it has little tiny slits in it, and this one doesn't show this, but it has little tiny slits, and that as well is one kind of pipe that kind of percolates through and into your soil structure. Now, you're also going to run across this. There's a reason why there's ridges. See those little ridges? Yeah, it has nothing to do with potato chips either. All right, these ridges are designed to slow the water down. So if you have this on a hillside, inside the hillside, it's going down like this. It's designed to slow the water down. Okay, talk about slowing the water down. Check this out. This is actually kind of fun. I am so thrilled about this. Have you ever heard of a French drain system? A French drain system is when you end up using a bunch of rocks and you put a pipe kind of in the middle of those rocks. This right here is designed to eliminate the use of the rocks. I met a contractor the other day. He saw this while we were setting this up. He was beside himself. He couldn't believe because that morning he was taking and he hauled like 40 tons of rock for this French drain system. And all you have to do is you take this, you dig your trench, which is as wide as a shovel, you put it down as far as you possibly can, and then what ends up happening is that you have this membrane that is covering all of this. You have this membrane that is covering all of these little blocks right here, these little nodules, and what it does is that it acts as the gravel. And that's what's really kind of important about this is that the water will come through here. You don't have to put gravel in. This acts as the gravel. And then what I think is really kind of cool is that you get this whole thing and you put it over by your house because you're going to have drainage coming into this little container thing right here. It's going to come through. This is a catch basin. This catch basin comes through. Your water is going to be percolating this way. You've got water coming out over here like this. And then this right here is so exciting to me because I have never seen it before in my life. Where instead of taking, and you know how drainage system usually goes right through the curb? You'll see a little hole through the curb. So instead of drilling a hole through the curb, what you do is you put this up to your curb right here. And then the water comes out and it just pushes it up just like this. So the water will push it up and it'll flop over the curb or into your lawn area or wherever. So this kind of technology is just amazing. I'm so thrilled about it. All right, let's take a look at some more really neat technology. You know, we have, this is actually something, we did this intentionally. We wanted to show you that this is not the right thing to do. Where even though you have this flexible pipe, and this flexible pipe is important, but you're not supposed to take it and replace your downspout with it. You're supposed to include it with your downspout, and then you can move this drainage pipe wherever you want in the yard to just water away. So that's actually kind of fun. All right. Now, we were at the bad side, the hill that was flopping over. That's not cool. We don't want any of that. What we want to do is we want to try to stop and slow down the water as much as possible. That's what we want to do. So we can do things right now, right away. And hillside stabilization is so important. What we could do is that we could take a couple of different types of membranes or elements to put on top of all of this. One item is this kind of straw blanket. You take this straw blanket and you're going to take and put it right on top, and then you'll take these metal clips and you'll push it inside to hold it down. You see what we got going over here? Look at this. There's like this mesh in here, and the straw's inside. And this right here is going to slow your water down. It's going to help the water percolate through. And you can take and plant in that right away. That's what's also really cool. Now, speaking of planting, this right here is jute. This actually comes from a plant, and they weave the materials together. It has these holes in it, and you do the same thing where you take these big old staples and you put it into the ground, you staple it, and it will help hold your hillside down. Now look, it comes in these giganormous rolls like this, so a little bit goes a long way. Now, you do remember when we were talking about, seeing a tree where it's going at an angle. Well, this one's actually going straight. We just don't have it tied up yet. So what we do is we get one of these right here with the logs, with a lodge pole. This right here, you put up at the very top, and it helps you pound the pole into the ground. Then what you do is that you want to take and you want to wrap these kind of things around here to tie the trees nice and straight. And then what will happen is that you have enough wiggle room in here. This will wiggle back and forth. And we're going to do it on the other side too, by the way. Should make it a little bit tighter, I guess. And then you know that you're assuring that you're strengthening the tree and you're doing a really good. Take a little bit more time than I'm taking right over here, okay? That's what you want to do. Oh, you remember those big old hot dog things we showed a second ago? Those are these right here. You know, you probably see them all over the place on the freeways and stuff. Do you know what they're called? They're called a wattle. That's right, a wattle. And wattles are designed to slow water down. That's what they do, slow water down. So you take a wattle and you actually have to kind of cut it into your hillside about 2 to 3 inches. Then you take that leftover dirt and you mound it up on this side over here so that the water can come, it'll hit all this, and then it will retain the water. Super important that when you put your stakes in, you don't put them in up and down like this. You want to go with the tree itself and go in this direction, I mean, with the hillside, and go in this direction to hold it down. So it goes down to one and down to another. If you don't see them like this on the roadside, they've got it wrong. And what are you people doing over here? My goodness, they're doing one of the most important things that's going to be happening when El Nino hits. If you have a basement, we're not too privy on basements over here, but if you do, or if you have a slab floor, filling up your these bags over here. Now these are sandbags. Sandbags are extremely important because they will hold water back. Now it doesn't mean that they're not going to leak. Doesn't mean that whatsoever. But when you fill these up, you got to do all this ahead of time. Doing it when the rain is coming down, that's ridiculous. You don't have to do that. These things are super duper inexpensive, and so is the sand. And when you fill them up, you only want to fill them up about halfway. That's all you want to do. These things are extremely heavy. When they're halfway, they're about 30 pounds. When they're 2/3 of the way, never, ever, never, ever, never more than 2/3 of the way, we're looking at around 40 pounds. If you fill them all the way up, you're going to have a big problem. Now, old school is you would take these and you would tie up the tops. We don't have to do that anymore. What we do is that we take and we're going to fold this over like this, and then we're going to flatten them out. So you take and you flatten it all out just like that. Then you take your next one and you do the same thing. You're going to fold it over and you're going to flatten it all out. Now if you notice, our flap is on the underside over here, okay? That's really important. And also the direction that you put these when you put them down, extremely important. So you're going to put it down like this, and then you're going to stagger it, all right? Probably like the way you got home one night, staggering, right? You put this like this, and you see how I staggered it over the seam? And I didn't tie it down because we don't have to. We're going to take, and the water is going to be gushing in this area, in this direction. When it goes down in this direction, these aren't going to open up. All right. Last thing is this. We have where do we have our seed? We have some seed over here? Oh, here's the seed. Remember we're talking about the hillside stuff? It's real important to use rye seed. Rye seed is one of the most aggressive kind of seeds there is on the market. You will get up to an 18-inch root on this thing. So what you can do is sprinkle it on like that. Before you know it, that's going to pop up, and that's going to buy you a little bit of time for El Nino. So the bottom line over here is that when it comes to El Nino, you want to make sure that you're properly prepared, and then of course, keep calm and El Nino on.